Okay, so before you watch this, I just want to say that there were some audio issues, so it will sound like I am interrupting Deontay a lot, or he's interrupting me, or we're talking over each other. But in reality, the audio, I think my channel of audio was like 2 seconds ahead of Deontay's channel. So the conversation at parts, it becomes pretty obvious that the channels are behind for some reason. Just wanted to let you know before people in the future send emails going, oh, you guys are so rude to each other. Why are you talking over each other? Yeah, that's not reality. Reality is that technology messes up. Okay, the podcast starts now.
Hey there.
Is that who I think it is? It's
Yes,
the
it
good
is.
old Deontay,
What's
not
going
Blake. I refuse to acknowledge that freaking name.
You know what's crazy? When I was on my date today, I revealed my true
Brag
name.
about it.
No, I was just. It's funny because I thought of you. No, I brought you up.
Oh.
I showed her my because she was showing me her ID and like her picture on her ID, so I showed her mine, and then like
just to get
obviously
that age, just to make sure. Because I did that once. I legit did that once. But continue.
and she saw my my full name obviously, so I told her, I was like, hey, so just in case we're together and you hear somebody call me by a different name, by the name of Deontay, that's still me. That's my first name. And her eyes got so wide, she was like, oh, it's not Blake. And I was like, no, I just started going by that recently. And she's like, so what do you prefer me to call? So we skipped that. And then I was like, honestly, there's the people that's been in my life for some years, they refuse to call me Blake. And there's two people in particular. It was you and Hill. And she was like, they're not calling you Blake. I was like, no, they absolutely refuse.
So that
yeah.
everything else went well, I guess. Did you just eat? That was it? You just kind of ate, talk?
Yeah, we ate, got some bubble tea, and
freaking weebs. Of course you did.
Anyways, we ate, got some bubble tea, and we sat at this bench at this park with a huge lake in the middle of it and just talked and got to know each other a little bit more. Pretty fun.
Nice.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. Hello. Dang, the Russians got Deontay too. See, this is exactly why you gotta watch what you say. See, Deontay brought up bubble tea. What people don't know about bubble tea is that is actually a Russian espionage delicacy. See, the bubbles represent the bubbles of communism. And because, Lenin is actually still alive. He's in Antarctica, which, of course, Antarctica, notice the numbers. Ant, 1, 2, 3. Antarctica has 3 A's. 3 plus 3, 6. What does a 6 look like? Looks like a 9. Now let me ask you this question. What does 9 mean? Yeah, it means no in German. No Germans. Who was the one country that didn't allow any Germans? Russian. When Germany tried to invade Russia in World War II, they couldn't do it. See, the signs are all there. You just have to find them. And I found them all. And that's why I'm starting my new podcast, Jabari's Knowledge, which will be all the hidden facts of the world that people don't really know about. People refuse to know about. Because the numbers, the signs, the symbols, they're all there. And they always have been. You thought this was a podcast going to be about relationships or some bullcrap? No. This is Jabari's Knowledge now. Now we're talking about the real stuff. You know what else is real? Nothingness. And what is nothingness? Nothingness. Where's your freaking problem? What the heck was that?
I didn't know if you could hear me or not, so I just left and...
Wait, did you hear me?
Yes, I heard you rambling, and I kept talking, and you just weren't answering.
I didn't hear you at all. What the heck?
I was like, Jabari, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And I kept trying to interject, talking about a meme that I saw, and he just kept talking. I was like, what the heck? So I even blatantly said, I'm just gonna leave and I'm gonna just join all over again.
I was in a flow. I was about to reveal it all. They're lucky you left.
No, you're lucky you left. I was saying, imagine if you made that podcast, Jabari's Knowledge, and like you wake up the next morning and everything regarding your podcast is deleted and destroyed. You try to turn on your laptop and that shit is just like catches on fire.
I turn on the TV, you just see a split second of some dude just looking at me. Like, don't do that again. And it just goes back to normal broadcast.
You hear a guy with a Russian accent, you make me sick.
But now that Deontay's back, hello, this is Jabari from Wisdom, and today we're going to be talking about what we ended off on in the last podcast. What the heck is that noise?
Sorry.
What is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you?
Let me ask you a question. Did you even do your intro last time? I don't remember you doing it.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm in my car right now. I'm not in my room. I'm in my car, so I can talk as loud as I can. Have a good sound, sound acoustics, no background, nothing.
Why are you in your car this time?
Because I was in my room last time. I was like, I don't want people hearing me, especially what we talk about maybe today. I'm like, I don't want them to hear.
That's smart. I should have probably went to my car, but it's okay.
I mean, you still can. I mean, you're on a phone.
I'm actually on
mobile.
My iPad.
Oh, well, I mean, an iPad's still mobile.
Yeah, I mean, my phone's really parked right outside, so let me go in there.
But yeah, so I guess what we ended off at in the last podcast, because I re-listened to it last night, and I was like, fixing up everything, cutting a little. I didn't really cut that much out from the last podcast, actually. Okay, I think I only cut out one thing, and that was something I said. I was like,
You did blur out when I said Hill's full name, correct?
Oh yeah, I cut that out too.
Okay, cool.
So there was only like maybe 1 5-second thing I cut out, and then one Hill's full name, and then everything else was like shortening the silences, taking out some of the stuff, and like
Gotcha.
I did notice, and it's kind of annoying hearing yourself talk in the podcast, but I notice we say like and all the time. Literally all the time. This every single sentence we give, there's going to be a or a like. And
all right, let's try to
hard.
change that this time.
I don't know if I can do it. It's going to ruin my talking pattern. But
all right, so I'm in the car now, so we're so far so good.
Okay, cool. So what we talked about the last podcast, what we ended on was about kids ending or losing their virginity like super early. You were talking about that, and then because we were talking about how there were different ways of showing love, and you were like talking about how you thought that and da.
Yeah.
And then you said you were talking about like some of your friends of a mysterious gender happen to be losing their virginity really, really early. But you're saying, of course, that comes both ways because they have to lose it to someone. So
yeah.
But you're saying that they lose it really, really young. And you're saying that back then you didn't think that people were doing that, so you were holding on until you were 16.
Yeah, I was oblivious to the whole shebang, and when I found out recently, because it wasn't just people I knew, it was like people that a good friend of mine knew, like they started like telling him, and he told me, and I was just like, man, we were so oblivious to everything that was going on, like we were being a goody little two shoes, like watching High School Musical and Camp Rock and whatnot, and they were over there banging each other's brains out. It was just like,
and that's the weirdest thing. Like,
heck?
I couldn't even imagine little kids doing that. That's so busted.
Like the earliest I heard was like 12
and 13. That doesn't even make sense.
And honestly, 12 or 13, I was watching Jersey Shore.
12 and 13, I was like freaking out about like, oh man, I really hope I can hold a girl's hand or something one day.
Yeah.
And then with you, when you say you're holding on to 16, I was like, and when I was 16, I was like hoping, man, I hope I can kiss a girl one day. It's like I'm still so behind with everything. Like at least
Honestly,
I got to the third base.
I have a friend who recently just went all the way. And my biggest thing is like, wow, just said both phrases like back to back.
See, it's hard.
It is. I told this friend that before they went all the way, I said it's honestly not as grand as you think. Like it's
It really
once you
isn't.
do it, you're really just you think to yourself, this is it. And they really thought that like once everything was said and done, they thought this is it. Like he was right. And like I'm starting to meet more and more people that have probably only just kissed people, you know what I mean? Haven't
Yeah,
gone
that
all the
was
way,
literally
haven't even gone
me.
to third base or whatever.
I basically went from base 0 to base 3 in one night 1 year ago. And after that,
On this day, this very minute, 1 year ago.
well, it was like in May something, or no, April something. So a little bit over a year ago. But like it's the same exact thing. Like when it was all done and through, I was like, dang, that was pretty cool. But I was like, I don't know how people are. It was overhyped.
Obsessed with
Yeah.
this.
Like
That's
I'm
what
saying,
I'm
like
saying. And
say I know like people who are rapists are like it's more of a mental thing. So it's like kind of
yeah,
difficult for you to get into the mindset of a rapist. But like, which is kind of creepy to say. But like immediately after that, I was like thinking to myself, I don't understand how a rapist could need to do this. Because it's like what I enjoyed more wasn't like all the sexual whatever type stuff. It was more of like the intimacy of it, like that we both
yeah.
liked each other, not like some power thing. So I'm like, I don't know how you could like someone who's like a rapist get that obsessed with that other part of it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and even people around our age, because I'm starting to meet, well, not even meet. I'm starting to realize that a lot of people in my life or that I come across, they are, still virgins or they haven't like really done anything. Like some people haven't even kissed other people, and I'm like, I get it. Like you feel as if you're missing out, which is completely understandable because everybody's always talking about this when you're around your friends, just like like locker room talk. Like even girls have girl
You even
talk and whatnot.
hear it all the time, like on the internet. Like people are just horn dogs on the internet where they talk about
Yeah,
it
and it's
like religiously.
and the crazy thing is my problem with that, by the way, just a quick segue. My problem with that is the people that talk about it the most are the people that are so scared or nervous to do it, like to
True.
do what they talk about. Like I've gotten intimate with someone that was all talk. So I was like, this is going to be fun, like, they're matching my energy kind of thing. And when everything was like, said and done, when the time came, I was like, okay, like this is it.
Well, I feel like
In my head, I said, "There's no way you should be talking like how you talk, and you're performing this
well,
way." And it's not like, I mean, it's some people would think, oh well, people would hear this and say, well, you weren't necessarily, doing what she liked or this that, and the third, stimulating her, and it's like that's not the case in point. Like because the type of person I am, I feed off of like how the other person reacts. You know what I mean? Like if you can easily tell if somebody's into something that you're doing or not. You know what I
mhm.
mean? So if I can tell if somebody's enjoying what I'm doing, and when I like catch on to that, I do that even more and even more. You know what I mean? And they love it. So I'm not going to say I dropped the ball because confidently I know for a fact I did not drop the ball. And they even said I didn't drop the ball. I did not want to crush their spirit. So I told them, I mean, I enjoyed it. It just wasn't what I expected. You know what I mean? So although I enjoyed it mentally, I'm just like, I'm let down right now. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. It was still a good time. And, I did have feelings for the person. So, things worked out how they were supposed to, I
Well, I
guess.
feel like the people who are like super like they talk so much talk and they're complete horn dogs. And I feel like that reason is because they don't maybe they don't get to do it often. So it becomes
Hmm.
like a like, oh, if I did like you know how everything's all like, oh, if I was able to do this, I would do this. But then when the situation
Right.
comes, you can't you glorify it in your mind what you would do. But in reality, like when reality actually happens, it's not as it's a different situation, I
Yeah.
guess.
I personally, and well, let me remember what I'm about to say and go back. So essentially, what I was saying beforehand is just that I kind of try to give people peace of mind, like if they haven't really done much, because I, it's honestly once you do it, you're just like, yo, this is. It's not like this is nothing, but this is it. Okay, like now that it's done, now what? You know what I mean? What am I going to do next? Literally for like my day, am I going to go, cut grass? Am I going to, go work out or whatever? It's just it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And I wish that a lot of people would
Yeah.
realize that. However, as you just said, everybody glorifies it online or like their friends. Like some people have horn dogs for friends who actually thoroughly who are obsessed with it. And in my head, I'm just like, I don't see how you're obsessed with it. I mean, I'm somebody who does enjoy, having sex a lot. However, I enjoy it while I'm in that moment. Like if I'm not in that moment, I'm not like, man, I really have to do this. I
But
like
then
really have to
again,
get my
I
rocks off.
feel
You know
like,
what I mean?
at least for me, because it was like a recent change. Like when it happened, my whole perspective on everything kind of changed. Even though I
I
did
heard
become
that.
like
I heard
I'm
that.
still virgin, of course, because I didn't hit the fourth base, because I'm a holy saint boy. But I went to the third base.
You didn't know that to say boy.
But I got to that third base, and just getting to wait, what are the bases? The first base is kiss, right?
I don't
I
even
thought it was
know the
like first
basis.
base is kiss, second base is like touching, and then third base is like touching parts. So
Right.
I got to the third base, and that changed like my whole perspective on everything, because I was like everything's kind of overhyped. Because before I was like, oh man, girls, oh so scared to talk to, blah blah blah. I don't know how I would ever like do that. And then afterward, now I'm just kind of like not uncaring, but more confident about it. Like where I'm like, okay, I already done this before, so like this is not going to be
Yeah.
something new. I'm not as afraid to be forward or whatever. So I feel like that part
Yeah.
is good. Like you gain like that confidence of being able to be yourself in a way without trying like overhyping it. Like before, I keep saying and it tilts me. But before, I you kind of or I would say you kind of, but I say me, I would kind of change my actions towards girls in a way, because I'm like, oh, if I do this, they won't like me. Oh, they won't think I'm as cool and won't want to talk to me. But then after that night,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't freaking care, because I got there. They're gonna like me or not. Like this one girl, the girl who did, she liked me for who I was. So I'm like, I don't need to fake it. So so that part, I
Yeah.
feel like it was good, because it changed my whole perspective, made me a more confident person. But at the same time,
Yeah.
people overhype it. So it's like,
Yeah, man. And it's crazy that you say that because it took years, of course. And my last relationship is truly what changed my mentality on a lot. Like after I got out of that relationship last year, I just stopped caring completely of what girls thought about me. And most guys, they fake that because it's like, man, I really, want her to like me because I really want to hook up with her. I really want to date her, this, and the third. And so I'm going to be this. I'm going to act like I don't care, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, I get it. Like, oddly enough, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense, honestly. Oddly enough, how to get a woman is very easy. You show some attention at first, of course, hook that, I said, twice back to back. You hook that initial interest in them. And if you're in person, it's all in the eyes, honestly. Like, if you look at a girl a certain way, you have them. And I'm going to elaborate on that in a little bit. But it's very easy. Like, you get that initial interaction, talk to them, exchange information, such as, numbers or Snapchat or Instagram or whatever. You have, like, a, witty, flirtatious banter back and forth. And then you just, like, kind of, like, leave a little bit, like, back off just a little bit. Not enough to the point where they're saying, I'm just going to go to the next guy. It's just, oh, I haven't talked to him in a day or so. Let me reach out to him. You know what I mean? And then you put the ball's back in your court automatically because you left it up to her to like reach out to you. And then once you do that, like it's a
yeah,
science to
it
it,
definitely is.
and
I
it's
tell
very
friends
easy. And I
all the
get it.
time that it's literally a science.
It is, and it's very easy. Like talking to them now is easy. Like it's mind blowing how simple it
And then I
is.
feel like people also have to be, almost bring it back to that one podcast, be self-aware. Like, I don't know how true this is, but for me, at least, I'm self-aware. I know that for me, I'm not like some super gangsta or super cool kind of guy, but I'm more cutesy, I guess, like in my personality,
Hmm.
like just naturally. And people like always like say if I match with someone, they always go, "Oh, you're cute" or whatever. It's like, okay, I'm that way. Why should I try to act like I'm something I'm not? Like, why should I try to act like I'm some suave, cool guy? I should just double down on what I
Yeah,
am, which I guess is like more cutesy. So I should double down on that. Maybe say some like slightly cringe type
because
stuff that are more cutesy in a way. Well, not cringe
it
level
works for
cutesy,
it
but
works for you
yeah.
though.
So like there's like a self awareness that you
Because
need.
it's like the girls that you go after, exactly, because the girls that you go after, I mean, obviously, like, I'm not gonna say any guy can get any
Mm-hmm.
type of girl, but the average guy can get different types of girls. And what I mean by that, a guy can get like a, a goody, like a goody goody. He can get like a bad girl. He can get like a girly girl. Like you just have to tailor what you do just a little bit to that specific person. You know what I mean? However, for people like us, I believe we just really go after who we are attracted to. And to me, it works perfectly because, I mean, no matter who I'm around, like female wise or even guy wise, I'm not going to change who I am, honestly. And I even tell people I'm not. I hate saying I'm not like any other person that you've met, but I'm so me that it's going to blow your mind. And I even had people tell me I've never met anybody like you, or it's rare if you find somebody that's like as genuine as you, because I'm completely open. Like, as you have me on Snapchat, I'm posting me like listening to like the heaviest songs that you can think of, or the most boring songs
Yeah,
to
and I
the
wish
average
more
person. You
people
know what I
were
mean?
like that because I feel like a lot of people feel like they have to conform into a certain type. And it's weird because you hear people who like are these like big personalities or whatever, like on YouTube or even celebrities. They say this all the time, but it's like people don't really listen to it, even though they keep saying it. It's like be yourself. You always hear, or to the point where it's like
Yeah,
almost kind of annoying how much people say it. But it literally is fact. Like just
yeah.
stop
It's too
trying to
cliche now.
be something that you aren't because that's not you. It will sound fake. Like if I try to sound like I'm some suave dude, like it won't work because that's not who I am. Like I would be just sounding the most generically suave kind of person, and they will lose interest. But however, my personality that I
Yeah,
am, if I just do it now, I it's easy because that's who I am. Like if they don't like me for that personality, then I wouldn't have. They wouldn't have liked me anyway. Like afterward, or I would have to keep faking it, and then hopefully that phrase
yeah,
"fake it till
exactly,
you
man.
make it," which I don't believe in at all either.
I mean, that does work in
Does it
certain
though?
applications in life. It does. I'm not going to lie to you. It really does. Like, when I started, this is just like a quick segue. When I started working at the dealership, like a car dealership, I was a car salesman. I had no sales experience whatsoever. And I worked at Capital One before I went to the dealership. And everybody, because I would just go, as you know, I'm a clown as it is. Although I'm an introvert, if I'm like in a jovial mood, I'm going around and I'm having fun with any and everybody. I don't even need to know you. And I made like a lot of, friends and my associates at work at Capital One simply because I would just go around and I would like just brighten up everybody's day. However, I would go around and I would just talk about anything. And I would honestly put my mind, I would shut down my mind and just put my mouth on auto pilot, and it would just go. And I would just like say whatever. And I was told you are so smooth. Like, you would make a really good salesman. When I told people I was going to be a car salesman, they were saying you're going to be really good at it. And I was like, I doubt it because I've never sold a thing ever in my life. I haven't even sold a candy bar. I don't think I can do it because it's like if I like it, I'm just going to say I like it. That's
Hmm.
it. You know what I mean? So when I was a car salesman, people would ask me these questions and whatnot about like certain features or certain cars, and I didn't know it right off the bat. So I just like started talking. I said, let me just do the same thing I did beforehand, where everybody said I would make a good salesman and hope that that works in this application. And I lied to you, I faked it until I made it. And people would ask me what certain features were. I would pretend like I was like a very ostentatious salesperson, which I'm a very
But see, what
ostentatious
I'm
person as it is.
noticing is that
So I
that
said,
part of you was already there. It's just that this time, like as the car salesman, even though you knew nothing about salesman, you just like made an effort. You kept making that effort to try, and it worked out in the end.
I lied my I don't want to curse on your podcast too much, but I lied my tail off about everything when I first became a car salesman, but it worked. Everybody thought I was very knowledgeable. I even got feedback that I was extremely knowledgeable. And I thought to myself, I don't know how you think that or why you think that. I had to, what the heck? Is that a raccoon? Oh no, that thing scared me. So, anyways, so fake it till you make it does work in certain applications. However, as you just said, sometimes when you're faking it, it's really just you're bringing a different characteristic of yourself out of you. And really, that's what I would do with girls beforehand, which a lot of guys do. They just like fake it till they make it. However, I just started realizing I can't get down with that simply because if I have interest in a girl, I want her to like actually have an interest in me. So if I'm trying to be this suave, I mean, I consider myself to be smooth when necessary, but I'm not going to pretend like to be this, urban guy that's up to date with everything and this, that, and the third, or like pretty much like this stereotypical guy that a lot of girls like. And I know a lot of people say, oh, girls don't like, stereotypical guys. It's just like, you have to be yourself, this, that, and the third. But if you go on like Tinder, Twitter, like if you go on social media or any sort of platform nowadays, what girls describe as like what they want,
Well, I
there is
feel like
such a
with
blanket statement or
Tinder,
like
which is
it's
also I made into a science. That is you make their Tinder wrong. Like I've been trying to guide people because I have literally the perfect profile, legit, the
mm-hmm.
perfection of a profile. And people do it wrong because people think that this Tinder thing is like a MySpace page. And you're saying like, oh, I do this and this and this and
Right.
this. Well, as a dude, I don't know how it is as a girl, but as a dude, they're like, oh, I do this and this and this and this. And then they take these pictures and all the pictures are like same little poses of them and like maybe selfies. And they're all like kind of the same location because of course not everyone is going like jet skiing or some stuff. But I'm like, you have to make it like as if it's a marketing thing. Like you're marketing yourself.
Yeah, that is
So
literally it.
it's you have to make it like your business. Like you see how businesses they have like kind of those buzzwords or marketing things like where they kind of catch your attention. So just like your business, say your first picture needs to be a eye catcher. Rather it's funny, rather it's something really cool, rather it's a picture where you look like a model. Like it needs to be something to make them click that next picture. Because only reason because the way I look at things, I look at it how I look at it. And I'm like, when I'm looking at a girl's profile, if she doesn't look good on that first picture, I'm immediately swiping left. Like, why would I give her a second chance after that ugly first picture? So I'm like, some people probably do that with my profile too. So I'm like, okay, then I need to make sure my first picture is some type of eye opener. Like, rather it's a freaking model type picture, rather it's something super funny where they're like, okay, let me see more about this dude. And then also, when they finally do your other pictures have to be like, equally kind of good, of course. But have some variety. Like maybe you just don't just do you with your friends or
Yeah.
okay, this is me with a selfie or no. Maybe take some pictures specifically for Tinder. Like they don't know that. Like for example, you can literally like I was trying to tell this one friend where I was like, okay, you say you like baking. Why not have a picture of you baking something? Why not actually bake some cupcakes and then take a, kind of cool behind the scene picture of you baking the cupcakes so it looks like you're just finishing up these cupcakes. Cause I'm like, when they see that, they're like, dang, this guy bakes. They don't care that your profile said your description
Yeah,
says you
and
bake.
it's crazy that you even said that because one thing I have learned from being a car salesman, I've learned I learned the process of selling something. And my closest friend, Hill, a mutual friend of ours, he is a marketing major, so he taught me some stuff for marketing. And he operates his Tinder just like you said about looking at it as like a marketing thing because essentially you are marketing yourself. And one thing I learned in sales is just like you said, your first picture really has to be like it has to be
Mm-hmm.
like an eye catcher. You know what I mean? Because like you said, to your point, not many people are going to flip through every single picture. Me personally, I do simply because I know that sometimes some people they don't know the formula. Some people they are doing what their friend suggested, and their friend may
True.
have a terrible Tinder, or their friend may have a good Tinder, but it works for them, but it doesn't work for
Mm-hmm.
that specific person. You really have to tailor it to yourself, although keeping the process, quote unquote, or the formula generic. Um, so I'm like, I know that not everybody can operate at the best, and some people's
Yeah,
best
that's
pictures
the
are towards
big
the end,
bait.
and then some people just have pictures of their animals towards the end, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I personally like. So I scroll through like all the pictures and then I'll look at their bio. You know what I mean? But to my point is there's a lot of people that like the same thing. And in my eyes, I don't really like the same girls. Is like the one thing I can say about my very small friend group that like people that I actually go out with, which is my friend Hill and my friend Ty. They're the only people I go out with, and sometimes my friend Nick. And none of us likes the same girls, like at all. Like I like different girls than what Hillary likes. Sometimes our preference mixes, you know what I mean? But that's rare. However, I'm not going to tailor my Tinder or like myself to get somebody that I'm really not going to enjoy being with in the long run. And not even in the long run, but like if I'm like hanging out with her, I don't
True.
want to keep
So that goes
putting
right
up a
back to that
facade. You know
same
what I
point
mean?
where it's like where
Because
people kind of try to, well, they're not being themselves, basically.
yeah, when I meet people, like even if I'm either on a date with them or if I'm messaging them and I'm like, I really don't know which way this is going to go. We both said we want to get to know each other. So I'm just going to be 100% honest. And if they don't like it, then perfectly fine. They can ghost me. I even tell people that now. Like I really stopped caring. And it's not a fake, oh, I don't care what people think because people need to accept me for me and blah, blah, blah. Hence the quivering of my voice that I just did because
Mm.
people say that and they're not too confident with that. I'm like, Jabari, I'm going to be honest with you. You are the only person, like the only friend that I have that I can actually talk about classical music with, or the violin with, or like more nerdy stuff with. The other friends that I have, I can talk about like stuff that's like more up to date, but I don't even know everything that's up to date. So sometimes I'm like, I don't know what the heck you're saying to me. You're speaking a foreign language right now. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I truly don't care what anybody thinks because I already feel like I don't have somebody that I can constantly like talk to about something that I like. So I'm just like, I'm really just surrounded by a lot of people that are kind of the same, you know what I mean? Because everybody wants to follow the same crowd to get like the same end result
Mm-hmm.
that you see that's glorified online. And I'm like, that's cool. I like that, but I don't want that completely. So I like, for example, during my date today, I told my date, which went really well, by the way. But I told my date that I'm just, and I even told her beforehand, I listen to metal, I listen to classical, I post pictures of me with my violin on Snapchat, you know what I mean? I just don't care anymore. And she could just tell that it was genuine. And I feel like that's one of the reasons that we have like such a great connection is because I've just been genuine this entire time. And I assume that she's been genuine with me, but you don't know people. But I'm going to say she was being genuine because it seemed like so. Then there was another girl I met off of Tinder, and we were messaging back and forth. We were going to hang out. I got her number. She lives in Richmond, so I knew that this wasn't really going to go anywhere. But we still wanted to get to know each other because we had, some interests that were similar. So we were texting, and it just like got to a point where I thought to myself, I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to let her know who the heck I really am before I drive an hour and a half, like to go up there, and like turns out like we don't really click. So I just straight up texted her. I was like, look, I'm doing something I shouldn't even be doing, and I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. I'm a nerd. I'm very, I'm very awkward. I have social anxiety. I'm not the best texter. I actually hate texting, to be completely honest with you. I prefer like being in person with somebody to get to know them because to me texting is very disingenuous. You know what I mean? So I just like told her 100% like how I am. And she took to that pretty well. We don't really talk as much anymore, but that's simply because she was entertaining multiple people, which there's nothing wrong with. So somebody else has her attention at the time. But I just like stopped caring what girls think. I'm just gonna be honest. Like if you're gonna be hanging out with me, you're gonna be hanging out with like me.
And I feel like
And
that's
that's
one
it.
of the
Like
most important things,
fuck it.
being honest with yourself. And yeah, because
Yeah.
a lot of the things I feel like is, well, I keep bringing that up, that it's just because I guess it goes with everything, that a lot of the things is just being genuine with everything. Like people just aren't as genuine with themselves and as genuine with other people, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And actually that kind of goes back to what we were talking about last time a few days ago on the other podcast episode, is when I said that when people are trying to like, when it comes to music, and it doesn't just like hold with music, it just holds in every avenue of life. But like when people try to say that a certain music that they're doing, if they're experimenting like with a different sound, they're like, oh, this is my rock record or whatever. I'm like, that's not rock. Like that's very like, I just don't like disingenuous efforts. So if something is like fake or false, I automatically don't like it. And now I do give things the benefit of the doubt. I may listen to it.
I do
but
feel like a lot of
It
people
really just
are
depends on the
like
artist.
that, like where they
But
don't
in
like
life,
genuine things, or ingenuine things, I mean. But sometimes they're kind of tricked into thinking that what was ingenuine is genuine, if that makes sense. Like, let's say with the music thing, like,
yeah, and
let's say Old Town Roads. Maybe some people don't listen to country, but they're in that same mindset that, oh, country is just banjos, guitars, these type of riffs on the guitar, da 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 da. So when they heard that iHeartRadio said that it wasn't allowed on country, that's why they went up in arms, because like, I can't believe this. This sounds like country to me. Wow, iHeartRadio's douchebag. But in reality, that genuineness that they thought was genuine wasn't really genuine. if that makes sense. Because it's the same with like companies and stuff.
Right. And that's why I don't. That's literally the reason why I don't judge people. I mean, I'm going to be honest.
Of course.
Everybody judges people. So I'm going to be the first to admit I judge, but then I'm like, why am I judging? Because I could easily be wrong. My motto now is I'm only a man who is only 23 years old, who has not seen the world. So what, or experienced the world. So what do I know in the grand scheme of things? So let me take a step back and see exactly what the heck is going on. And I try my best to do that. I try to hold true to that. I'm only a man, so I fail a lot, but I still give everything the benefit of the doubt. So if something is disingenuous, I automatically don't like it, but I give it the benefit of the doubt by trying to understand it or listening to it. If it's music, I'm very particular with my music. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And there's certain sounds that I just will not listen to, or certain vocal tones that I will just not listen to. So I can't say that completely for music. However, it just like goes throughout life. If something is just very disingenuous, I automatically don't like it, but I try to get an understanding with it. And that goes like for people also, because there are some people that just really want to fit in. People go off of stereotypes, and not just stereotypes, they go off of generalities or generalizations on you. Somebody can look at you and think that, oh, you are a nerd, but oh, he's a nerd that likes anime, he likes this, and this, he's this way, so, and he likes this type of music from what he looks like, so I'm only going to talk about this stuff with him. You know what I mean? And if they do that, they're sorely mistaken, because if they adapt themselves to fit what they think you are, and you guys are hanging out, you're like, this is not what I like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to hang out with this person again.
Need to do, maybe, just a little bit, is that they, like, for example, let's say you talk about some death metal band I know nothing about. But just because I don't know anything about it doesn't mean I can't still like have a conversation to you about it. Like, if that makes sense. Like, you could still, like, I don't have to fake and act like I know about a metal band. Same with, like, say, to bring it back to like the Tinder thing. Like, if a girl is talking about something, I don't need to fake that I know about it. Like, quickly search up everything and act like I know about it, so then she doesn't think I'm stupid. Like, I feel you can just admitting that, okay, I don't even know what that is. Like, that's better, because that, if you
it's honestly just taking a genuine interest.
Not only say the conversation, let's say she talks about K-pop or something, talks about BTS. It's like, oh, did you watch the new BTS video about jump blah 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 and doing all this? Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, and I quickly search it up and like, oh yeah, I did watch it. That was crazy. No, I'm gonna be like, I don't watch K-pop at all. I don't even know about that. And then what happens? A conversation starts. Maybe an argument, but still a conversation starts. And now you have a thing to branch off on, and boom, that texting line, that line of messages is there, and boom, now you have a text buddy, which can turn into a cuddle buddy.
Yeah, man, and it's all about just, I'm not even gonna lie, dude, that is the absolute best in my eyes, and it works for me, but my success doesn't work for other people, so I'm aware of that. That's what works best for me. It's odd that you mentioned BTS and K-pop, because
I saw that in her profile.
Went out with
today.
When
you sent me the picture, not myself.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. So she loves BTS, and I'm like, at first, I'll say this: me a year or two ago, I thought she was just saying she would like behind the scenes, and
it doesn't.
I know that's what BTS stands for, I believe, but I'll be like, behind the scenes of what? I believe so. But the only reason I know like of BTS, NCT, Suga, August D, which is the same person as like Suga and Yoongi, or Yugi, whatever his third name is. He has too many pseudonyms. The only reason I know any of that is simply because my baby sister, who's 15, she is obsessed with K-pop. So she like brought me into that like culture, so to speak. So I'm aware of it, and I'm not the most knowledgeable person, but I have some knowledge, like very base knowledge. And I made that clear from the jump. I even told her the only BTS songs I know, and I listed them, which is like only 4 or 5. And she was like, "Oh yes, like you actually know, K-pop or BTS, blah blah blah." And I just like should have told her, "Yeah, my sister is like what showed me like them."
But see how you're talking about
it. So the beginning
just
of
because you don't know all about BTS doesn't mean you still can't have a conversation. Like, you just, from that small little thing, you have a whole conversation.
That's what I'm saying, and that's really the kernel of like us getting to know each other stemmed from that. And even if my sister didn't know anything about BTS, the second thing was like, guess right, I just would have honestly only did that, to be completely honest with you. But further down the line, I would have asked, what is BTS or whatever. And it's just like, it's crazy because I take a genuine interest. I mean, I guess not many people will do this simply because they haven't experienced somebody taking a genuine interest in them, or they look at it as nobody takes a genuine interest in what I like, so why would I take a genuine interest in what they like? That's a petty mindset that I don't personally subscribe to and I don't really care for. Me personally, I'm somebody that listens to metal, and I don't have one friend that listens to, like, I can ride in the car and just blast metal with. I don't have one friend. I mean, I know I can, like, blast Children of Bodom and, like, some stuff with you because you're actually open-minded. But when I say that, I don't have anybody
like
that can
if you
actually
play it,
relate
be
to
like,
the music
oh,
with
that's
me.
freaking
Or,
Black
like, no.
Sabbath. Well, even though that's not
Yeah. Yeah, like nobody's gonna be like,
Okay.
oh, that's the new. I mean,
Hey.
that is actually heavy
Okay.
metal. They're one of the pioneers of metal. Like nobody would be like, oh, that's the new Thy Art Is Murder that just came out. This, that, and third. So it's like, I know what it's like to have somebody not take a genuine interest. I was texting this one girl years ago, and she told me straight up that she had no idea what I was talking about, and she was losing interest in talking to me simply because I was just like talking about what I like, and I was like, that's kind of fucked up. So I don't like people feeling that way. So what I do, I actually try to get a genuine interest. And some people don't even like that in this culture of today and age, because some people just want you to knock them loose and then leave them alone. And that's perfectly
actually,
fine. Like,
to
I'm
make a
not against
slight
that.
segue,
Just make that
that's
known.
actually
You know
how
what I mean?
that first girl I met was not fully like that, but it was kind of like that. The first one.
Which one?
They
The
both
one
were
that
from GMU, technically.
from GMU?
The first one I showed you, not the.
so like the first one that you
I'm
showed.
trying to word these in a way so if they listen to, well, I mean, they would know who I'm talking to, because they know that they were like the first and second people I ever was with.
Yeah.
But you know, the Asian one who was half Latina.
Oh yeah.
Like, she was cool and everything, but
I remember her. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not upset. Like, if that's what somebody wants, just tell me, so I don't fucking waste like unnecessary energy or unnecessary interest. If like all you want to do is just hook up, if all you want to do is hook up, then let me know. I don't really like playing games. And honestly, Jabari, I've had success with that. I can honestly say she's a friend of mine, and she would never listen to this podcast because she just would never find it unless I tell her about it. So I can just be honest. I'm not going to say her name, of course, out of respect. I just straight up told her, look, I only wanted friends with benefits. I was in a relationship for some years, so I don't really want to be in a relationship with anybody, but I do want to hook up. And after a few days, in my mind, my memory, which is not the best, it was a few weeks of like us like catching back up and whatnot. And she said, you know what, I want the same thing, this, that, and the third. So that's literally all we had. And I was so okay with that. I'm like, I just straight up told her, and then she just like came out and told me. I don't need like to like play the little flirtatious game back and forth. I mean, I understand some females actually like that, Chase, but dude, I'm 23 and I'm only getting older. I really don't care for all of that. Like, we can flirt a little bit, but I need it to be known, like, if you're trying to hook up or if you're just like wasting my time or if you're doing whatever the heck you're doing. Like, I really just don't have time for guessing and games. Like, I just can't do it. And that's what a lot of people in our age group right now, they love doing. They just love playing games.
But I wonder if it's
I don't like it.
Because what
really
I've noticed, because, you know, I'm a psychological master. I understand the physique of a mind. And from my studies of humankind, it seems that most people are socially awkward. Like, people kind of act like you might think from their, let's say a post on Instagram, like, oh wow, that person's always out, always, you know, social and all that. But all these people are just as socially awkward as the other person, the person who's always inside or always like doing this. So some of the things I've noticed is that people are kind of like equally afraid to take that first step sometimes, and that's why they kind of play those games, like where they're not sure, or I'm not sure if I really like this person, or I'm not sure if that person likes me. I'm not sure if he will actually want to, or she will actually want to go on a date with me, so I'm not going to say anything. And then the conversation drops and it becomes like this whole ordeal. And because everyone's socially awkward, it requires, like, if it's two people, of course, because a lot of people are socially awkward. So if it's someone trying to get a date with the other and they're both waiting for the first like actual move to be made, and it doesn't, then that whole game kind of starts, where it's like kind of like, are we moving a little bit forward? Are we not? Because I mean, I don't have that much experience, but I don't know if like do they play games like after the first date, or is it usually like to get to that first date where the games are happening? Yeah. So
it happens.
It requires
before the
that
first
final.
date. Sometimes you can do it.
You
like,
finally have that.
This is my
jump
thing.
start, like where you actually go and meet each other or actually do something, because everyone's kind of waiting. I feel like a lot of the time.
Yeah, once you get to that point, like that, I'm not gonna lie, like it's easier at that point. It's building up to it, because some people you can just be forward and just like tell them, look, you know, this is what I'm on. This is like what I want to do. And some people are forward. They're like, okay, shit, me too. But some people will go like actually go through with it, and others are like, when I say this, I don't mean like to offend anybody, but they're too chicken shit to actually go like actually meet up because it's
because I
like
guess
that's what
it's
I
kind
want,
of
but
awkward
I
because
don't really want to
people
do it. You know what I mean? Or
are
like I don't want to seem like a hoe.
because Tinder's still like meeting random people, and it's even harder because like say before Tinder was a big thing. I saw the statistics when I was doing my random Tinder social media research because I made it a science, as I said. Because even just a side note, the first pod Jabari's Wisdom talking about Tinder actually, and it's ironic how much my opinion of it has changed from the Jabari, because back then that was before I met that, and
Yeah.
the opinions are completely different about Tinder. So that shows like the more socially awkward Jabari, and then the me now Jabari. And
Right.
because I went on that side note, I forgot what I was about to say. Oh my gosh, it was something good. What were we talking about right before that? Okay, I forgot. I remember where I was going to. It's ironic about the Tinder thing because before Tinder, when I was doing my research and all that, most people outside of when they're using social media, most people meet their significant other from a friend of a friend, basically. Rather it be like a friend's party or a friend who hung out with them, and then you two start hanging out a little bit more together or something like that. But it's usually like a kind of a friend. So it's a little bit easier back then to talk to people because you like, let's just say in this alternate universe, went to your house and you brought over a bunch of your friends, and one of your friends was a girl, and that was the significant other. Our connection is you. So it's easier for me to talk to her because I'm in this crowd dynamic where we're getting our personalities out there without like doing this one-on-one kind of thing. Maybe some people go to a club, maybe some people go to this, but it's the same thing. Like you're in this dynamic where it's more social. But Tinder, however, you're just you and that person you matched with. It's just you two. So when you are trying to like make a conversation, when you're trying to make a conversation, where you're trying to invite them to a date, where you're trying to convince them that you're not some murderer trying to kill them, like it's just you. They don't know what you look like unless you, for some reason, which I don't think anyone really does on a majority basis, you for some reason do a FaceTime or something like when you match with them. Because I don't know why Tinder's trying to, like, say you do some weird little FaceTime thing so you guys kind of see what you look like, which would still be just as awkward, which is why no one does it, because it's even more awkward than just texting. So it's like you don't get that dynamic. So everything's like slower, like to convince them that you are cool, to convince them that you aren't a killer, to convince them that you actually are who you are. You're not a catfish or something. So I feel like that's why people like all that combined with, just being in a hole, socially awkward, makes it harder for, say, some people to finally bite the bullet and go on a date, to do that first, even if they're like in the same college. Like sometimes with GMU, some people I would match with, like it was even hard to just get them to go to like one of the dining halls or something. So I feel like that's the problem. That's, well, not a problem, but that's like one of the things that make people how they are, like where they kind of are afraid to become a thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a possibility, which is cool. I mean, like I said, I give people the benefit of the doubt. Nowadays, I'm not even gonna lie, I just don't even care anymore. Like whatever happens, happens, and it's like I really don't know. Like before, I would actually be bothered by it. I would think to myself, why the heck are you on here, but you're like backing out or whatever? Because sometimes it's like their nervous thing. Then other times it's just like it's you. Like they matched with you, they like wanted that or whatever. Like they were attracted to you, but something better came along. They were just like, this better thing. I mean, this thing is better than like him, so I'm just gonna go with that, which is perfectly fine. Like you're not gonna be everybody's preference, which is 100% okay with me. But back then,
I
would bother me. I would like
too,
really be
upset
by that. But now I'm just like,
thing that helps is that when it happens repeatedly, you get used to it, so you don't really care as much. Like maybe that's, for example, like the past me, where I was saying like you was more like not used to Tinder. That was like when I first started using Tinder, like for the first maybe 2 months or so. And now I'm like at, what is this, year 2 of using Tinder or whatever. And it's like now I'm just like, I feel like I'm a master because I feel like I tried every single experiment or whatever and kept the ones that worked and stuff like that. So that's why I can say like, okay, your description to go, just in case some people are like waiting, because I was like giving all these super pro tips about Tinder. Like say the description. The description, people make it too long. No one's going to read through your life story on a dating profile where you swipe left and right, you need like a minimum or a maximum of like 3 sentences. This is on a dude's perspective, like for a dude writing his own profile. I'm not talking about girls. That's a little different. Even though I don't read their profile most of the time either until I match with them. But your profile, your description doesn't even need to be anything. Like mine, I literally just say, I know how to juggle. That's it. I know how to juggle and have a juggling emoji because one of my pictures is me juggling. And then you would think like, oh, that's lazy. No one's gonna care about that. But it's because the description doesn't matter why it works. And you know what? A lot of the times, if they rarely send a message first, what do they say? Oh, can you teach me how to juggle? It's because it's simple. It's a simple little prompt that they can jump on. So it's multiple things like that. Where you just gotta like we said before, market it like you're some type of freaking business. Got to get those pictures right. Got to get that description witty and quick and short, not long, not life story, and other things. Now, this is the only thing I'll say you need to lie about. There are certain interests that you know how Tinder has like these interests now, where it's just like baking or cooking or movies. There are 2 things to not put down.
Yeah.
Do not put down gaming or anime. If you put that down, you're done. You're through. Do not do it. That's a bait. That's so girls will know not to swipe you. Do not put gaming down unless you are like a
Let me see what mine
tier
are.
where it doesn't matter. Don't do it.
I have movies, art, working out, music,
Let me see
and
what
road
I
trips.
have. I think I technically lied about one of them. Oh, if you hear that, I'm just turning on the car so I can turn on the heat. It's freaking cold.
I mean, it actually feels
I'm
good
moving
outside,
as south as possible.
I actually have my
Okay,
AC on, to be
big
honest.
time troll.
No, like during the colder months, dude.
I like it cold
in
in my room
because it's nice.
nice.
I have my window open, like all the way.
Ooh.
I like it cold year
No.
round, honestly.
Oh wait, how do I turn off this music?
Like,
But here are my things. My interest, baking. That's the only thing I lied about because I don't know how to bake. But I mean, I cook a steak. I mean, I am interested in baking. Like, if I could bake with someone, I would do it. That sounds fun. But I don't know how to bake. But I put baking.
see, that's
What?
the thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. You can finish your list, and I'll
exchange,
elaborate on what I was going to
because
say.
I'm learning some languages. So I'm like, okay, I'll put that down just in case someone's like, oh, you want to learn French? Oh, I have movies, hiking, and museum. See, those are all safe. There's no gaming there because the gaming will ruin my profile forever. I will not recover when they read that part. They're like, oh, he's a gamer. Okay, and then they drop me just like that. But what were you saying?
Yeah, man. Like with the whole baking thing, here's like one thing I've learned in sales is that it's not necessarily a lie if you can spin it to be the truth. And the truth of it is literally what you said. You have an interest in it and you're willing to do it. You never said you were good at it. You never said that. Now, they may perceive it as you saying that you're good at it, but that's something that you've never said. So if they're like, well, I thought you said you like baking, you can say, I have an interest in it. However, I'm not the best. I'm still trying to get better. And they're like, oh, okay, this and the third. Like, you just like literally just take it like that. You just have to spin it to work for you. And that's the thing that not a lot of people know. And it's like, if you choose your words carefully, you can never technically get caught in a lie. Now, I'm not telling people to go out there and just like spread false truths and like deceive people. That's not what I'm saying, like whatsoever. I've only been playing violin for 2 months. If you heard me playing the violin, you wouldn't think it's been 2 months. You would think it's 5 or 6 minimum. You know what I mean? Pretty decent. You know what I mean? My violin teacher said I'm the best beginner that she's had, and I even had people on Reddit tell me
You're posting
that
on Reddit?
2 months they weren't even playing at the level I'm playing.
Dang.
Yeah, because I wanted feedback. This was before I got a teacher. I wanted like feedback, being that I was teaching myself violin, so I wanted like to see exactly
like
how well I was teaching
post
myself.
on Reddit, like asking for advice. Pretty cool.
Yeah, like that's all I really do because I just like honestly want to get better. So, with that being said, I tell people that I play 3 instruments. It's realistically 4. I play guitar, obviously. That's my main instrument. That's what I know the most on. I play guitar. I play bass. That's the one I always leave out because, I mean, there are some girls. I actually met a girl that plays bass, and we bonded off of that. But I mean, not many girls are gonna be like, "Oh, he plays bass." Like that. Like nobody's gonna want you to play bass for them, or it sucks for bassists. But it's like, so I tell people I play guitar, I play violin, and I play piano. That is true. Am I the best piano player? No. I'm not classically
But
trained.
then
I'm
the
self-taught on
ironic
piano,
part
so
is
that means I
that
learn
whole
songs
like
that
where
I
it's
want
a
to
half
learn.
truth kind of thing. That's used all the time. Like, say people tell you to do that even with your resume, where they're like, okay, let's just say I did a project where I'm like, okay, I did a project where I created a robot that can fight people. And it's like the thing I left out was, that was a project of 100 people, and I only like wrote the comments or something. But it's like I didn't say that. I just said I did this project.
So that's why I said, that's why I
True.
carefully
So
said you
that
have to spin
rings
it to
true.
be the truth, because like obviously, yeah, that like you can't, like I said, you cannot deceive people. You have to like act. There has to be like truth to it, to like where if somebody found out, it's like, oh, it's not what I thought, but it's still true. You know what I mean? Like with piano, I can play piano. For some people that don't even know how to play the piano, they would think I'm really good. I'm decent. Like I'm not a bad piano player. I'm
But if
not
a
the
real
best, but
pianist
I'm not bad either.
came
You know what I mean?
and you said that you played
Um,
piano well or something, they'd be like, what is wrong?
that's why I never say play well. I just say I play it. I give as little information as possible, and that's simply because I don't want to lie. You know what I mean? I'm just like really telling the truth. I play the piano. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. That's
So,
one thing I don't ever have to
basically,
worry.
that's freaked me out. Some dude's running like around my cul-de-sac. I'm like, who the heck is this dude? It's like I see some person running. I'm like, what is happening? I don't want to talk just in case he freaks out when you see some black dude in a car.
That's our old friend Chris keeping tabs on you.
But
Wouldn't that be something?
that if I saw freaking Chris running, I would get out. You just see the podcast end. Like, hey, get over. What are you doing?
Dude, I would drive so fast over there.
The podcast, there's still, I wonder, should we talk about, the stories of because you want, should I still talk about the stories of the first three base thing, or, should I not? Because, there might be some kids watching, but then there's some lessons being taught in that story. But still,
Yeah, I mean, if you watch what you're saying, I mean, obviously it's still going to be like PG content. But here's the thing: if you watch what you say, you can take it from being rated R to PG-13.
Okay, I'm going to make it PG-13 then.
Yeah.
But technically, I'm going to end the podcast now, even though to you and me, that podcast won't end. Only because this is an hour long. So we are going to make this a two-parter again, just like the last podcast. So
alrighty.
Technically, the podcast is just ending now.